And we're live. And yes, I am broadcasting from my bathroom because I had a very interesting day or event, I guess I should say. My sister had to go down to the local police station, and I had to tell her to get at least some information on some phone calls that have been going on. Um, I guess targeting my kids when my kids are playing outside with their friends. And yeah, it's 6 times law enforcement has been called on my kids playing at a friend's house. And it's been really, really stressful. And there's a lot of people that were in my life that I don't want to be. But they said, hey, we think you have a neighbor who basically dislikes you because it's the same person that's doing this. And I've kept my kids inside. I don't want them to go out. I had to turn away their little friend because I'm afraid that law enforcement will get called on them in our front yard, like it's already happened, literally. Um, like I'm just like so stressed out, and like it's creepy. Like it only happens like yeah, it's just creepy. And I'm taking some advice from my sister who went down to the station, and hopefully we can get it all sorted out. But I have to like make a report, and I don't want to make a report, but then I'm just like, oh, and now I don't even want to walk my dog in the neighborhood because I'm like, what if something, yeah. So that was my morning. And then this
Hold
evening,
on.
the dog decided to
Before
bolt.
before you go into that, let's deal with that part first. I will give you some advice, the same advice I give to my dear friend. Cover your ass. Document, 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 document everything.
Yeah,
Your
well, it's
your
kind of
case.
creepy. I'm like,
Your
because it's like literally our front yard. My child
get
was playing in our neighbor's front yard, and there was a parent there.
okay. Get cameras that cover your yard. Also,
Yeah.
with the guy that keeps filing police reports, ask the police to turn around and charge him with filing false police reports. They can do that. I'm pretty sure 6 phone calls in a short span of period would constitute harassment as well. You could turn around and go, "Hey, can you officially charge him with this?" And then that should get him to back off.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. But I want my sister there because I'll freak out because I have a thing with law enforcement just because of my DV trauma. And like I don't know if I'm being irrational or what, but I just don't want, like, I don't want to be a nuisance. I don't want to be the spectacle of the neighborhood. I don't want like any trouble for any other kids. Like, and I'm pretty sure it's because maybe my kid called one of the neighbors old, and the neighbor didn't like that.
They probably are old. They can get the hell over it. I mean, it's like hell. I get yelled at all the time by older people. It's like I just turn around now and tell them to shut the, and go to hell and just keep doing what I'm doing. I just don't let it bother getting to me anymore. It upsets them more if I tell them to go, F themselves because you can watch it in their face. I sit there and go, oh, I feel good now and just keep going because they're more upset that it didn't affect me.
Yeah, I thought it was really weird that this neighbor was making such a huge deal about it. And since then, it's been nothing but crazy, nonsensical, like phone calls. And there's a bright side to this. Now I get free daycare, right? Um, for till like really late evening hours, which is great. So I don't have to worry about paying a babysitter or a nanny now, and I can go see more hospice patients, which would
Woo.
help. But like I'm scared of like my neighborhood now.
Yeah, just get cameras. That'll help. If you can put up like 6 foot privacy fences or whatever. I don't know if you're an HOA or whatever. Hopefully not. Put up fences. Do that, and yeah, as I said, document it. Get the police to act on it and get him to pull his head in. Because they generally don't like people that do that crap, and they will crack down on it. So yeah, and then after that, just keep your head up. That's all you can do.
Yeah. It was really sad today. I had to turn down the neighbor boy because I was like, "Oh, are you guys gonna play in your house?" And he's like, "No, we're gonna play outside." And I'm like, "No, I'm sorry." And then my son hugged him and was like, "I miss you." And I'm like, "I'm really sorry. It's only because I don't want like trouble."
And yet the weird thing is, if you think about it, like I'm an '80s kid. We grew up like go outside, get the hell out, go out and touch grass. We grew up, but yet this modern generation, basically, it's the opposite. They're told to get inside and stay inside. Um, you can be seen but not heard type thing, which is beyond pathetic. It should go back to the kids having the same sort of freedoms we did. Uh, albeit with not as probably as much freedom as we got away with because of the amount of crap that we actually did with no supervision. Um, but yeah, there needs to be that bring that back a bit. I think.
Yeah, and considering they said it's one person, it's like very concerning because like, are they spying on me? Are they like waiting for certain opportunities? Like that's what it feels like.
No idea. Just get cameras and yeah, like if you know where, like have that part of the yard like with cameras on it, and that way if he does do anything, you've got it documented. Like have it saved to like a cloud type thing.
Yeah, that's good advice. I'm gonna have to do that just to protect,
Yeah,
you know.
and plus, don't you guys have like cheap cameras over there? Like over here, they're expensive as hell, and it's annoying to do. But yeah, over there, they're a lot cheaper.
Yeah, you can get a camera for like $25. A wireless one.
Hmm.
Yeah, off of Amazon.
Yeah, I'd do that. That'd be the and have it pointed so it definitely covers the front lawn and all that. And if he bitches about that, just go. You have every right to record anything on your yard. Anything that's in public technically can be recorded, and he can't do shit about it.
Yeah, that's true. So, second thing, the dog and the running. I didn't fall, thank goodness, but I'm officially old and sore.
I, I gotta ask, who was panting harder at the end, you or the dog?
I was. And you know what? As I was running like 3 blocks, chasing them, I'm like, this would be the perfect opportunity to call law enforcement to help me the F out. Like, you can't call them now and, like, you know what I mean? It's like
That,
chasing my dog and my kid through a darkened neighborhood and losing them. And, like, oh my God, I was so stressed out.
just be thankful nothing happened. You got him back. You can sit and relax now and just enjoy. It's just one of those stupid things that happens.
Yes. So I'm gonna have you take over. I'm gonna fill this bathtub with some Epsom salt, some essential oils, some princess sprinkles, and I'm gonna have a good time.
Okay, so I'm gonna state this. Um, as most of you know, I am Australian, born and bred. So this is going to be like a mixed grab bag of things from Australia. Like I have covered some stuff in previous streams. I am not going to go over those ones that I've already said that I've already covered. I do have a couple of things where I have um, mentioned before, like Chris's Ghost and from yesterday's stream, Frederick Valentik's thing. I have a few other bits and pieces that some people might not know about Australia, except for, like obviously certain things from like pop culture that you guys are aware of, like the main music stars like AC/DC, Kylie Minogue, In Excess, etc., etc. Um, and of course, two very, very famous lines of "That's not a knife, this is a knife," or "Oh no, a dingo ate my baby." I still, yes, I have seen that, and that accent is god awful. Like, I like Meryl Streep, but just why use her and that crappy accent? I don't know. So now, I know some of you um, know Australia also as like a land of like killer creatures. I'm not going to go over the creatures and stuff because that is absolutely no fun. Because most Australian creatures that can kill you are like most humans. If you leave them alone, they will leave you alone and only get annoyed when you prod and poke them. Unless, of course, you're in cassowary territory, then you're just asking to be killed. um, so, as you know, like with every country, usually has like their national anthems and all that. Admittedly, Australia's national anthem is pathetic. Most Australians do not like it. We would actually prefer the song I Am Australian because it more thoroughly encompasses that. However, besides having I Am Australian rammed into our heads as kids, we had something else um, that we had to learn. I don't know if modern kids learn it, but the, the following thing that I'm about to read is something that we grew up reading and it fully encompasses what Australia actually is. Although I will admit, there is a line from Great Southern Land which says, Australia is a land that has been hidden in the sun for a million years. So, this is a poem from Dorothy McKellar from 1908. It is called My Country. I will scroll down to it. So, uh, here we go. The love of field and coppice, of green and shaded lanes, of ordered wood and gardens is running in your veins. The strong love of the grey blue distance, brown streams and soft dim skies, I know but cannot share it, my love is otherwise. I love a sunburnt country, a land of sweeping plains, of ragged mountain ranges, of droughts and flooding rains. I love her far horizons, I love her jewelled sea, her beauty and her terror, the wide brown land for me. The stark white ringed bark forests, all tragic to the moon, the sapphire misted mountains, the hot gold hush of noon, the green tangled of the brushes where lithe lianas coil, and orchids deck the treetops, and ferns warm the dark soil. Core of my heart, my country, her pitiless blue sky, when sick at heart around us we see the cattle die. But then the great clouds gather, and we bless again the drumming of an army, the steady soaking rain. Core of my heart, my country, the land of rainbow gold, for flood and fire and famine she pays us back threefold. Over thirsty paddocks watch after many days the filmy veil of greenness that thickens as we gaze. An opal-hearted country, a wild and lavish land. All you who have not loved her, you will not understand. Though earth holds many splendors, wherever I may die, I know to my brown country, my home and thoughts will fly. Like even now as an adult, that still holds so true within my heart. Um, what are your thoughts on that one, Emmy? And yes, I slandered Meryl Streep, but I think a lot of people do. It's the same as Khaleesi. It's the same as using Mick Jagger's Ned Kelly. I mean, seriously, that's another bit of bad acting. Now, Emmy, you said you were out in the deserts. Now, I don't know why you're out in the deserts. If you ever came across this story of a thing called Lassiter's Reef. Now, when you did Mount Shasta and I think one or two of the other places, there were, stories of the gold mines and stuff like that where it's protected. So, so what it is Lassiter's Reef is a purported discovery by Harold Bell Lassiter in 1929 and 1930 of a fabulously rich gold deposit in the remote and desolate corner of Central Australia. Um, Lassiter's accounts of the find are conflicting, and its precise location remains a mystery. We still haven't found it yet, which is yeah. So it does say it could be at the edges of the McDonald Ranges, and that was loud. Thank you, Emmy. Um,
Sorry, the hot water was running and I couldn't hear you.
what, you missed all of that? Shame.
Well, I had you on like high and it still didn't like yeah, it was muffled. I'm sorry. You can spank me later.
Kinky. Uh,
Dirty old man. All right.
well,
I'm going to
I
go
kind of
back on mute so that I
that.
don't disturb anybody.
Of course, I'm a dirty old man. I haven't showered yet. I mean, seriously, it's only 4:30. Um. So yeah, apparently there was an expedition in 1930s um, during the Great Depression to go out and find it. However, yeah, nothing. Um, yeah, there's not much more about that. They have sent more and more expeditions out there, but they still haven't found anything. Now, um, as you know, you guys have got several places throughout the world where you have what you would call seasonal um, floodplains. Like we have one here in Australia called Lake Eyre, which is currently being filled up as we speak. And within a couple of days, that will be nothing but fields of flowers and creatures that only come out when the rain is on. But apparently, there is a place called Lake George, and its Aboriginal name is Wiriwa. It's actually in New South Wales. It's an endorphic lake. Basically, it's known for disappearing. The lake will fill up, then disappear. And yeah, they still haven't figured out what the hell is going on with that. It's in the southern tablelands. So it's between Canberra and Sydney. A trip I have done many a time. Um, I don't think I've actually stayed there, but yeah. So apparently, it's one of the world's oldest lakes, estimated to be over 20 million years old. It lies in a fault-formed trough, which recent study shows may be related to past major earthquakes. So the name Wiriwa is from the Ngunnawal language of the Aboriginal, which means bad water, because apparently it's got high salinity. And yes, it is different from the Lake George in New York, USA. I'll see if there's any other information. Apparently, it does fill up with fish and all that kind of stuff when it is full, but I don't. It doesn't say anything where the fish actually come from. So, um, which
That
is
is
kind of
weird.
yeah. Well, don't forget we've also got lakes over on I think it's Stradbroke or one of the other islands. I know it's not Tangalooma. Um, that basically they're hot pink lakes, because of an algal bloom, they turn hot pink. If you look it up, it is actually really, really beautiful.
I love hot pink.
Yeah. So with also Tangalooma, that like Tangalooma is a good island. My parents actually own a holiday house over there. Um, they have it during the best time of the year, like Christmas Day through to just after New Year's. Um, it like Tangalooma is more famously known for its shipwrecks. On this side of the island, it's fairly calm. You can go swimming and feeding the dolphins, and on the other side, it's like pure surf beach. All I remember is one year my brother went into the water there because we went on the oyster tour, and he went into the water, got got dumped so hard he broke his arm. I did nothing but laugh my ass off at that because my brother's a dumbass. Um, yeah, and Tangalooma is also known for like producing a kids' TV show back in the day, which was um, really interesting. So, Emmy, as you know, Australia is also home. Well, we started off life as convicts. Um,
I did know
so,
that one. I did know that one.
however, we are quite good at stealing things and claiming things as our own. Mo- like one of the biggest things that we have stolen is that chant you hear usually at the tennis and other places of Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. That is actually stolen from some other country and just corrupted to Australia. However, we also turn around and we steal stuff from New Zealand all the time and claim it as Australian, i.e., Russell Crowe. Um,
Really? I thought he was Australian.
no, he's actually New Zealand. There's a few things like that that we do, and it's very very interesting. And yeah, because Australia and New Zealand will always be interlinked because of the Anzac spirit, which is the Australian New Zealand Anzac Corps, Army Corps. Sorry. Um, Now, as you know, we have come a very long way. You know, being one of the shortest lived countries on the planet. Um, we have produced quite a few brainiacs throughout the years that have um, produced items that are actually now world famous, and even some of which you, Khaleesi, Christina, and whoever else is watching would actually use in your own homes, surprisingly enough. It has not all been a one way trip of America trying to bastardize Australia. So I'll go through some of the things that we have come up with that the world benefits from. We are responsible for the black box flight recorders, which was invented by Dr. David Warren who lost his father in an aircraft tragedy in 1934 when the Miss Hobart crashed into Bass Straits. We will be going over Bass Strait when I talk about Frederick Valentin. Um, the device is virtually indestructible and records the final remains of a crash plane's last flight. While it is a box, it is not black. It is actually bright orange in color, making it easier to find. Now, we have also apparently invented, this is a new one for me, even knowing, a spray on skin. Um, a plastic surgeon, Professor Fiona Wood, patented a spray on skin technique which involves taking a small patch of victim's healthy skin and using it to grow new skin cells in a laboratory. So that would obviously be used for burn victims and stuff, and apparently was used to treat um, people from the 2002 Bali bombings. I
Oh
wonder
my
if that would.
goodness.
I wonder
I'm
if that would also be
fascinated by
used
that fact.
the Manchester bombings and stuff like that. Apparently, we also invented the electronic pacemaker. Um, I still don't know why they gave one to my mother, but anyway. Um, Apparently, it was first invented in the 1920s.
Oh,
I would
really?
have thought it would have been. I would have thought it would have been a lot later than that. Um,
Yeah, too.
yeah, and it says since the late 1960s they've been implanted inside the body. One of the Australian doctor Mark Lidwell, who helped invented it, um, used the invention in 1928 to revive a stillborn baby. Wow! And apparently the baby made a full recovery.
Oh, that's fascinating. That's fascinating.
Apparently, we're responsible for Google Maps. Um, that some Danish brothers made it, but apparently some Australians helped founded the startup company Where to Technologies, and basically Google bought it and it became Google Maps.
Oh, I definitely did not know that.
Okay, it says we medical application for penicillin, but I thought penicillin was done by someone in World War I because they'd left bread in a petri dish that developed the penicillin strain in Dinger. I didn't realize it was in 1939. Australian scientist Howard Florey purified penicillin from a special strain of mold. I was always told it was someone in America that did America or Britain that did that.
I thought it was Switzerland. I need to go
Okay,
back into my microbiology, but I didn't know it was Australia. I thought it I thought it was somebody else.
okay. So we have some of the more secure banknotes in the world. Um, yeah, people are now developing the technology to clone and fake them. I think that has been going on since money was made. But we have, whereas your money is made from, I think, cotton and something else. Is cotton and it's a certain ink thing. So the ink is always a little bit wet. We actually have like a very like our notes are plastic, so ours can get wet. Ours can you can crumple them up in a ball. You can
Can I say something?
basically, yep,
Your notes, they have the queen on them, right? Like you could actually see through them, right? Is that
yeah,
correct?
yes,
Do I remember that
yes,
correctly?
yes.
Can you describe how different, can you describe your banknotes, because it's different, because you can see through them and you have what, the queen, and yours is way different than America's.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's just ours are like made from like a polymer blend. Um, so in the corner of each of the notes, there's a little clear plastic window that if you hold up to the light, you can see the Southern Cross through it. Now, every banknote, like we've got 5, 10, 20, 50, and 100. There are notes. Um, I know there have been certain, like, on each of the notes on both sides, there's usually different people on, um, like, great famous Australians are on the notes. But there is also like on some of them there was the Queen. Now it should be the King. Um, yeah, they're extremely colourful. Unlike yours, where all your notes are the same size, same colour. Um, ours are different. And they also have like weird names. Like a $50 note is called a pineapple because it is yellow. Um, I'm not sure what the other notes are called. I just know that the $50 note is called a pineapple. So yeah. Ooh, we also invented the cochlear implant for hearing impaired people. That was first invented in 1978. Um, but the problem with that is they're still super expensive. I have actually looked into getting one for my left ear, and the hospitals are, oh, we can shut all the hearing off in the left ear, but you still need to pay like 20, 30,000, if not more, for a cochlear implant. Um, so apparently, we also invented the electric drill. In 1888, Australian electrical engineer Arthur James Arnott patented the world's first electric drill with his colleague William Brain. The invention was originally designed to drill rock and dig coal. Although it was a long way from the portable handheld drills today, the underlying technology is basically still the same. Now, I know you guys have a thing in America called the America's Cup. And I remember in 1983, Australia caused one of the biggest upsets in said cup because of the certain keel that we invented, and basically we kicked their asses for that. Um, Permaculture, we actually invented that. Um, so permaculture is basically an alternative to the chemical-based agriculture, which is harmful to the environment. Um, Wi-Fi technology, had our hands in. Ooh, apparently we also invented ultrasound scanners. So those of you who have had kids and had to have ultrasounds, we were responsible for that. Plastic spectacle lenses. So as you've seen with the aircraft that came down on the Hudson, those rafts that they deployed from the doors to let people out, that's also another Australian invention from 1965. Um, Emmy, US skirts, yes.
Definitely.
Do you wear the ones that have the the creases like permanently pressed into them?
No, I like more of like a pencil shorter skirt. Not really into like the Taylor Swift look.
Yeah. So the pattern behind the creasing, that's Australian as well. We also invented the Gardasil and cervix cancer vaccines.
Oh, I didn't know about that. The vaccines? That's pretty cool.
We invented some sort of lens for the camera that allows to both the subject and the background to be in focus at the same time, and has the ability to rotate without the movement of the camera. That was in 1993. The Triton Workforce. Basically, it's a table that can do that you can put all this stuff onto it, and it can do a lot of work. It's freaking awesome. Uh, Race Scan. In 1979, Channel 7 introduced live television broadcasting from inside the racing cars, allowing viewers to watch the race from the driver's perspective. It has also been adapted to fit, snow skiing, basketball, cricket, and other sports. I know about the tuna thing, but who cares about tuna? Let's see what else is here. We also invented solar technology, so the solar panels. We were behind that. Um, Something to do with battery storage. We fixed that.
Don't you
Uh,
have a solar farm?
they're supposed to. I don't know where they are, but I reckon we really need to build some out west a bit more. Um, Creating new products from landfill. I know we don't do this as much. Other third world countries do this far more than we do. But recycling products from landfill. Um, Something about making oil from plastic wastes. Reversing impact of fertilizer on water and environment. That should be much bigger than it is. So all that stuff like Montesaro and other phosphorus chemicals that are really bad for the environment, we have a way to fix that. That should be far more bigger than it actually is. Um,
Agreed.
New, new class of polymers which can clean up the toxic spills and contaminations, i.e., so if we get another, what was that one that was in the basin, the Chevron or whatever it was that spilled oil everywhere? Ooh,
I'm not familiar.
okay, so Emmy, was it you that said something about IVF pregnancy, or was it somebody else that said that?
Oh, yeah,
Um,
I did. Yes, I did IVF, but I was not successful because fate.
apparently, the Monash University, we were the ones to come up with that.
Well, I thank you. It was an experience. I will tell you that.
Yes. Ooh, apparently, the nano patch, a needle-free, pain-free vaccine patch that doesn't need refrigeration and can potentially be self-administered and requires less vaccine to be effective. Ooh, that really needs to be thingo.
Wait,
Because
what?
I've been, it's called a nano patch. So basically, it's a vaccine patch. So instead of going to get all your vaccines through big needles, that you just slap it like a, think of it like a, I would assume it'd be like one of those tobacco patches that you just stick on your skin. You
Uh,
just go, done.
you know, I do like that option. That would be. I would do that. Then the I hate. I have a needle phobia, and I work in healthcare. I know it's weird.
Um, okay, I'm that one because I've had that many blood tests and all that, and I've even actually had needles in my head. Um, there's apparently a photo that my mother has that she will not show me that shows me with a completely shaved head with a ton of needles in my head. I don't know why. Yeah. Um, I can't watch the needle going in, but I'm fine with it. And I do actually have my license to take blood. I did do venipuncture course. Um, we also did made ink. So we've developed techniques to help identify um, antibiotic resistant diseases. Ooh, hold on. This is a new one. A chewing gum that could save your life. A recalcitrant is a chewing gum and teeth cleaning product that delivers calcium and phosphate ions into the tooth, repairing and strengthening areas of enamel previously damaged by actions of bacteria. It is based on a protein discovered in dairy milk. I've been seeing ads for that type of gum lately. That's actually amazing that it's actually Australian. Um, we developed a life-saving device for newborn babies to help. It stores and delivers medical-grade oxygen to critically ill newborn babies without a secure source of electricity. The siphon uses energy from running water to separate oxygen from the surrounding air. Um, yeah, it's to do with the infant mortality rates arising from pneumonia and other hypoxic illnesses in low resource settings such as Papua New Guinea, East Timor, and sub-Saharan Africa. Wow. Um, so apparently, we also invented a personal ventilation hood for hospital beds to help contain COVID-19. A home epilepsy testing, which I think you might come across at some point, reducing diagnostic times from 2 years to 2 weeks,
Oh,
which
that's
is that is actually shocking. Like that's been around since 2017, so that's only what 8 years old,
so we should get it in 10.
maybe. Um, a brain device to help people with paralysis move. A Stentrode is an implantable device the size of a paperclip that delivers mind control via computers. Isn't that what Elon was doing with some of that stuff to help people? do stuff with computers and help them communicate and everything. And yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, they need to send this one to this next one needs to go out to the athletes village. Next generation condoms will both enhance your sex life and help prevent diseases. I didn't know that we needed to fix the condom situation.
Uh, Always use protection. That's all I'm going to say.
Agreed. Um, and did you know that like the reason why I mentioned the athletes village because for every single Olympics so far, like after everything, they are nothing but buck bunnies. And I know for the Sydney 2000 Olympics, they apparently ran out of condoms and they supplied something like some insane amount of like 5 million and they run out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am serious on that one. Like, yeah,
I'm I'm speechless.
yeah. I thought it'd be blowing your mind, but I'm blowing my mind as well with some of this. Um,
I
I'm not even going to check to see what Khaleesi's writing because she's probably making fun of me for this one. Um,
She says it's been a minute. It's good they're using protection.
so apparently, we also the world's first bone glue invasive, replacing invasive surgery. So Tetric Matrix, an injectable water-based scaffold that can be administered without the need for invasive surgery. It stays liquid at low temperatures, making it easy to inject during surgery. Once at body temperature, the gel hardens to provide both mechanical support and a physical scaffold for the host cells to repair tissues. It is both non-toxic and absorbable and can be injected with precision. Not only does it repair broken bones, but also regenerates cartilage and connective tissue. Hey, wow. Um, so apparently in March 2020, it secured $5 million in Series A funding round, so it's coming. That is actually bloody brilliant. Because think about the people that need to have like the that have got like one leg shorter than the other, and they need to build like drill in like huge like metal things through their legs. That could replace all of that. And think about it. If like with some of the way they're now making casts in that, if you've got one that you could theoretically inject into the skin and then put one over the skin, that's kind of interesting. An
That's a
accurate,
concept.
yep, an accurate and low cost blood test for bowel cancer recurrence. Yeah, let's not go into bowel cancer because I ain't looking forward to when I turn 50 to get the finger up the butthole. Um, because unfortunately it runs in the family. Using smartphones to diagnose chest conditions with just the sound of your cough and breath. So there's an app out there called Res App that can, yeah, diagnoses and measures the severity of a wide range of chronic and acute conditions such as pneumonia, asthma, bronchiolitis, and whooping cough using just the sound of your cough and breathing. More than 700 million people annually visit the doctor for respiratory disease. That's that's actually brilliant. Like I know, myself, I have asthma and all that, so that'd be interesting. I know other people could really use that. Um, so apparently there's a thing for treating dry eye. Um, it's called Tear View technology. Um, Apparently that number is increasing in children due to the use of electronic devices. A tear film, um, yeah, problems are also associated with glaucoma and lens replacement. So that's only fairly new as well. Like 2020, it was selected by the European Space Agency to be used in eye care zero gravity program. So they're obviously still testing it. for like helping with the astronaut size and everything. So apparently they develop problems in microgravity. A new treatment for devastating muscle wasting disease.
Wow, I'm like really impressed with all of your medical advancements. I mean, it doesn't seem fair.
I'm really surprised. The world's first smartphone-based pain assessment and monitoring application. Pain Check uses AI facial recognition and smartphone technology to intelligently automate the pain assessment process at the point of care. The smartphone camera looks at the person's face and analyzes the images using AI driven facial technology. It automatically recognizes and records the facial muscle movements and indicative of pain and will identify the presence of pain even when not obvious, which will take the ding out of like, on a pain scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most horrific pain you've ever felt. How do you feel? Oh, well, I've got kidney stones, so that's a bloody 11 out of 10. It feels like someone's kicking me in the nuts constantly. Thank you. Well, it can't be that bad because, our pain scale. Fuck off. Sorry. I've had that happen before. Like, uh, Red Cliff Hospital. I went in there with pain in my kidneys. The pain was that bad, I ended up sending my heart rate through the roof. They're having to go at me. You're saying you're only in here for the drugs. You're just here. What's that word? Hypochondriac. They sent me in for one scan, but because they used the stuff to go through your system to try and pick it up, they couldn't find it. So when they did the second scan, they found I actually had kidney stones. Do you think I copped an apology for that one being called a hypochondriac and that I'm only in there looking for frickin' drugs? Hell no. It was actually in my files. I had to go talk to somebody about it and get them to alter my files and take that out of my damn files because I was able to prove that, I had something medically freaking wrong and kidney stones are a pain in the ass. So apparently we're also leading the world on quantum revolution. Uh, they're doing something about pastures for harsher climates, eco-friendly pesticides. Apparently we're revolutionizing avocado production. So for all you people that like avocados and avocado bread and avocado oil and all that kind of crap, thank us. Ooh, apparently we're also making low-cost traps to attract egg-laying female mosquitoes, which are the ones that bite and cause all the illnesses and all that kind of crap, which is good. Something about mining, hard rock mining, connecting Australians with First Nations languages. The problem with Australia, like I've shown Khaleesi this map before, is the sheer amount of Aboriginal tribes in Australia is absolutely phenomenal. And everyone has their own individual language. And yeah, if they can figure out a way to preserve all those languages, it would be good. Now, Amy, we know you. I'm going to pick on Khaleesi a little bit here. Um, Khaleesi, I know with your driving and wing mirrors are an added option for you. Apparently, we're also now producing the world's first shatterproof car mirrors. So that means you can clip them in an accident and they're not going to break. You've got no comment to that one, Emmy?
What's a what?
So your mirrors on the side of your car, the wing mirrors or whatever you call them over there.
Oh yeah, your side view mirrors.
Yeah, apparently we've invented a new type of plastic mirror, like wing mirrors for the cars that are shatterproof and environmentally friendly. So if you hit them in another accident, they most likely will not shatter everywhere.
Oh,
Because apparently they also have carcinogenic chrome inside them.
Khaleesi says I didn't break it. I can pull out of my parking without breaking it.
I know I'm shit stoned here because I can. Apparently, we helped invent faster Wi-Fi. Technology developed by Australian researchers lies at the heart of what is now the most popular way to connect computers. So yeah. So apparently, it's pioneer. See it the CSIRO pioneered work in radio astronomy in the search for black holes, combined with the development of radio transmitting microchip at the Macquarie University. Basically, is behind why we have faster Wi-Fi. So
I
yeah,
need
I,
faster Wi-Fi, or I need Wi-Fi that I can use on my computer.
now as you know, you have like certain things in America, like that giant snake effigy. Um, in England, there's that giant horse, and I think throughout the world, there's a few other giants, um, giant like humanoid figures, like or animals throughout the world. Correct?
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Maori Man?
Yes.
Yes, so full of shit.
He's like your version of Bigfoot?
No, he is actually a geoglyph discovered in 1998 in outback South Australia. It depicts an Aboriginal man with a hunting stick, uh, boomerang, or stick. Apparently, it appeared basically overnight. No one knows who the hell did it. They have an idea of who did it, but yeah. So it's kind of like the geoglyph in Peru, I think it is the Nazca lines. There we go. Yeah, I got it right. Um, So it was discovered by a charter pilot in an overflight on June 26, 1998, and it is now one of the largest geoglyphs in the world. Now, the funny thing about this, if you look up pictures of it, it also has his giant penis. So it would have to be an Australian with a sense of humour who actually drew the bloody thing because they're just giant dicks everywhere. Because why the hell not? I'm pretty sure it has the giant. Hold on, let me have a look. And that photo doesn't not show it. Um, it is one of the largest geoglyphs in the world, arguably second to the Samjana lines. I don't know what that is, but I will add that to my list of things to look into. Shortly after its discovery, the South Australian government closed the site following legal action taken in late July by native title claimants. But flights over the site were not forbidden as the native title fell under the federal government jurisdiction. I just find it absolutely hilarious that yeah, someone did it. Now it says that he's most likely holding a woomera. And a woomera is basically a big Aboriginal plate. Um, where is mine? I actually have one that was done and painted for me by a friend of mine. I will show it on camera in just a minute. Just let me do this without setting this up and thing out. I actually have the story for it somewhere as well, which I can read out. So let me go into Thingo. So, go back camera. Okay, so I'm going to show this for a very limited time. Okay, my camera is going on. So this here is basically what a woomera looks like. Now, normally a woomera would have on this side of it. So that's all the lovely artwork. So normally on one side of it would have like a thing sitting at one end where you would put the stick down through here. So like for example, the stick would go through here. That would hold it and then like launch it. Now, the The boomerangs that you see in modern day society, where it's just like the arch, like these ones, are useless. The boomerang you need is one of these. Yeah, it's huge. Um, these are the ones that will actually fly and spin and come back, and they are very, very lethal. I will not be throwing it around because I don't want to fucking hurt myself. Um, yeah, if you want to know what the story is with this one, I can find where I put the paperwork for it and read it. As I said, this was actually given to me at work before I left the Hilton Hotel, and I had a friend. As I said, I gave it to a friend, and he painted it up for me. I absolutely love it and adore it. So yeah, I'm turning my camera off now. Um, hey
Can
Tracy.
you
Yeah,
send me some? Can you send me some art? That's
no,
beautiful.
yeah, I know. Um, yeah, no. The, this Aboriginal stuff belongs to me. I mean, seriously, but I clicked a lot of weird things. Like that's a South African mask. I have not yet found where the hell it comes from. But yeah, I would definitely like to know, just because I want to know it's the history of it. But it is freaking awesome. You can actually wear the mask. I am not going to for obvious reasons. But look, I even have like tiger painting. But that mask, side of the road. That painting, the painting side of the road. My dragon, that is also side of the road. That is why I go scaff hunting with my father, because you never know what you're going to find.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Yeah, as I say, I'm very proud of the Aboriginal stuff that I've got. Oh, and because I know you like it, I got the last one left in Australia somehow, and I'm never getting rid of him. I got Spate, the
Oh,
PlayStation controllers.
ew.
Yeah, I got Spike. He was the last one left. I actually checked all the websites, and the nearest one was somewhere in New Zealand, and I got it. He's been mine now for quite a while.
Oh, you should be so proud.
Okay, how much do you know about asbestos?
Asbestos?
Yep.
Like the terminal illness?
Um, well, that would be asbestos poisoning, but there is an actual proper term for that. But I'm talking about the products.
You guys made that?
We're one of the few countries in the world where you can find it. There's a town called Wittenoom in Western Australia. It is a former mining town and is now a declared contaminated site. 14, 14 1,420 kilometers or 880 miles northeast of Perth in the Hamersley Range in the Pilbara region of Western Australia. The Pilbara is one of the most gorgeous places on the earth, and they do a lot of mining up that area. The declared contaminated site comprises of 46,840 hectares or 100, 115,700 acres, making it the largest contaminated site in the southern hemisphere, an area nearly one-fifth the size of Chernobyl exclusion zone. The government of Western Australia advises that travelling through Witten and surrounding areas, you're not allowed to do it. Basically, they don't want you going anywhere near it. It is now technically a ghost town. They they mined they mined blue asbestos. Um, they started mining it in 1941 and kept mining through until the 1960s. And Australia was the only known supplier of the blue asbestos. Yeah, so basically it has a thing of like zero people living there because basically they kicked everything out. Um, if you if you listen to a band, um, crap, my brain's just gone blank. Midnight Oil. Unfortunately, they never got the credit they deserved in Australia. They have a song called Blue Sky Mine. I would urge you all to listen to it. It is a very catchy tune and is about that. Like Midnight Oil does a lot of songs in regards to like they're like an activist type band.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. Now, so I'm going to touch on here about the Nullarbor Plain. There is more of the Nullarbor Plain I will be touching on a little bit later, but apparently there are magnetic signals from the Nullarbor Plain. Um, the Nullarbor in South Australia, I don't know how far down you actually came when you came to Australia, but the Nullarbor Plain stretches from South Australia to WA. It is one of the most vast and remote deserts in Australia, but it is also one of the most beautiful. It was on my to-do list to do the train trip across the Nullarbor um, by train. I don't want to do it by car because one, they have open speed limits, so you can go as fast as you want, but you're also got to make sure you stock up on water, um, really strong satellite phones, and like fuel and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, if your car breaks down, you're fucked. Uh, so the Nullarbor is in the South Australia. It's a strange geological marble. In the 1970s, survey planes detected mysterious magnetic signals emanating from beneath the barren plains. Stretching across the southwestern corner of South Australia, this vast expanse where the Earth's magnetic field is unexpectedly weak became known as the Campania anomaly. The Campania anomaly has intrigued geologists for decades, sparking speculation on the source of these unique signals. One explanation for this phenomenon may be that the rock is actually formed in the northern hemisphere and moves south on its tectonic travels, which would mean it would have had to have been formed at the time of Pangea. Um, yeah, just yeah, Pangea then became Gondwana, and then Gondwana became Australia, New Zealand, and the um, the Asian countries and Antarctica. Um, one explanation for this phenomenon may be that the rock was sorry, that was already read that. Another explanation suggests that the rock formed at the time when the Earth's magnetic poles were reversed, which is something we get to look forward to because apparently we're overdue for the poles to be flipped, which will be very, very interesting if and when it does happen to see what happens when it does. A third theory suggests that it's a strange crater-like shape that is the result of an ancient meteorite impact. An interesting hypothesis considering that this region is favourite fossicking ground for meteorite hunters searching for more recent falls, which is why they're using more and more LiDAR effects because we do have some of the most oldest creators on the planet. These magnetic signals do suggest that there is an existence of deep body of unusual magnetism beneath the surface of the limestone and sand. Uh, so it says here, do you remember the iron filings and magnet experiment in schools? Well, just like those traces of iron filings lining up along the magnetic field coming from the magnet, iron particles within the rocks are similarly affected by Earth's magnetic field. When new igneous rock forms and cools, rock particle within the rock looks like in the magnetic field present when it was first formed. This magnetic record is called remnant magnetism. The Campania anomaly is one of the largest remnant magnetic anomalies in the world, and due to the remnant magnetisms of the deep igneous basement rock which was formed at different times to the surrounding rock. The further investigation of the phenomena in South Australia Geological Survey recently completed a more detailed airborne survey of the area using remote sensing from a magnometer just 80 meters above the ground level on lines of only 200 meters apart. Uh, so apparently they found small pimples of anonymous signals were detected in shallow rock structures dotted throughout the region surrounding the larger Campania anomaly. Some regions speculate these pimples may be the result of ancient paleo rivers or sinkholes, which carved through the limestone surface and trapped magnetic grains washed or blown over the limestone surface. Now, on a side note, I will say that Australia did have an inland lake at one stage that stretched from Northern Territory basically all the way through to the um, Great Australian Bights. Um, if you look at the recent rain map for Australia, it does actually kind of show where that was, because that's the way it's kind of filling up, which is, yeah, interesting. Unlike the larger Campania anomaly, which lies over the 200 meters below the surface, the magnetic source for these anomalous pimples are just beneath the surface, which could be other heavy minerals associated with magnetic grains causing these pimples, including uh, commodities such as rare earth minerals. Um, the Nullarbor area is a prospective site for copper, nickel, and gold, yet the thick limestone cap hides the surface features, which suggest minerals could lie beneath, which is interesting as hell. I wonder if that's why there's a lot of UFOs and that go over uh, the Nullarbor.
You mean like military bases?
Yeah, no idea. Yeah, let in the paint. Khaleesi, yeah, definitely let in the paint. So I did mention the Min Min lights the other day. I think I've mentioned it before. So um, the Min Min lights is a light phenomenon that has been reported in outback Queensland. So stories of the lights can be found in several Aboriginal Australian cultures predating European colonisation of Australia, and has since become much wider part of wider Australian folklore. Some Indigenous Australians hold that the number of sightings has increased in conjunction with the ingression of Europeans in the outback, while it has been claimed that the first recorded sighting dates back to 1838 in the book Six Months in South Australia. It is even possible that the event described is a different phenomenon. Apparently, you can go stay at the Min Min Hotel and go and watch the lights. Um, the origin of the name Min Min is uncertain. It could be connected to the Australian Aboriginal language from the Cloncurry area, or it could be connected to the Min Min Hotel located in in a small settlement of the same name, where the light was first observed by a stockman in 1918. Neither connection has been substantiated, and non-Indigenous folklore and tales from the Min Min lights tend to characterize them as a mysterious phenomenon and fit into the understandings of the land, which is characterized by the Australian Gothic. Min Min lights are often portrayed as benign yet frightening and unknowable to those who experience them. Um, yeah, so apparently there's reports of the phenomena widespread throughout Australia, from as far south as Brewarrina in western New South Wales to as far north as Boulia in North Queensland. A small sightings are reported to have occurred in Channel Country, and another district is where the Min Min lights are often reported is in Gunta, South Australia, which is centred with a low-lying basin known for recording extreme heat. The Luma people report Min Min lights in the Pilbara region of Western Australia, particularly in an area known as the Pyramid Station. So the reports that the lights appear as if they're fuzzy dish-shaped lights that appear to hover just beyond the horizon. They are often described as being white, though some account describe them as changing colour from white to red to green and back again. Some accounts describe them as dim, um, and others describe them as bright enough to illuminate the ground under them and cause nearby objects to throw clearly defined shadows. According to folklore, the lights will sometimes follow or approach people and disappear when fired upon, sometimes very rapidly, only to reappear later on, and anyone who chases the lights and catches them will never return to tell the tale. Some witnesses describe the lights as appearing to approach them several times before retreating, and others report that the lights are able to keep pace with them when they're moving in a motor vehicle, which is why, which is the same warning they give with willow wisps, foxfire, glove whatever you want to call it, um, like marsh lights and that. You never follow them because you're gonna end up in a world of hurt. It is unknown whether the Min Min lights are a source of real phenomenon. Yes, they are. There is now actual photographic evidence and video evidence of them. I've actually seen one. There was like a Channel 7 article on them. Scientist Jack Pettigrew has hypothesized that the lights may be a result of swarming insects that have taken on bioluminescence. Um, yeah, but that's nothing. The other thing is geophysical, such as uh, physioelectrics or marsh gas. Um, he also suggests that the Min Min lights could be uh, Fata, Fata Morgana mirage. Um, the So basically, Fata Morgana is a specific form of mirage caused by stark temperature difference between air layers, which causes remote lights or objects actually beyond the horizon to appear visible above the horizon, often with considerable um, distortion. This explanation also explains reports that sightings have changed over the years. The Aboriginal legends were of stationary lights that would have been refractions over the horizons of campfires. Later reports are of lights that actively move. With the Fatima, with the Morgana Mirage, this would be a refraction of car headlights over the horizon being reflected and being seen to move. The area of the Min Min lights are in a desert with known temperature inversions in the atmosphere. Gleesy, you've got to pass those cookies. Now, this is one place I have actually been. Um, as I said, I grew up in New South Wales, travelling up and down the New South Wales coast to go to a place on the south coast because we had a caravan down there. Partway on the way down there, there's a beautiful little area called Picton, which overlooks the sea. And as I said, it's got some of the most beautiful rolling hills and scenery you could picture. However, it is also renowned as one of Australia's most haunted towns, featuring spooky legends tied to its colonial history and railway past. The most famous ghost story is of Emily Bollard, who haunts the 1800s railway tunnel after being killed by a train in 1916. The other sites include the haunted Wollondilly Shire Council building. So if you go to look it up, the Picton Tunnel is also known as the Mushroom Tunnel. You can walk through it. I have done it. It is kind of scary as hell.
Sorry,
Report.
I don't understand.
Oh, shut up, Siri. The tunnel was also used during World War II to store mustard gas. So, with the Wollondilly Shire Council building, it is apparently haunted by multiple spirits. So, and the railway viaduct is often associated with reports of ghostly figures contributing to the town's reputation. I would love to go back down there and take more photos. Mm. I I won't do that one. I will have to. Okay, so I'm going to read from this one. Unfortunately, um, um, so I'm trying to get the link to work properly so I can send it to you. No, I don't want to know about the Iron Maiden tour. Uh, Felicia, I just sent you a link so you can see the pictures yourself. Emmy, I will have to bring up another email for that. Give me 2 seconds. This one you will need to post up so people can see them. Um, God damn it, post the link, damn it. There we go. Done. Send. Okay. So I'm with this one. It's a lady that's also gone on tour in Pitton to the cemetery. If you look at the back of the photo that is at the top of the article, you can see several ghost children running around in the back of the thing. Oh, that's something I should bring up. The I will have to search what I'm looking for. So in the article that I've just sent to Emmy that she can repost into the live, um, she went on a ghost tour, took the photo, swears there were no children in St. Mark's Cemetery. Local legend has it the two children you can see in the photo are David Shaw and Blanche Moon, who died 60 years apart. Blanche was crushed to death in 1886 while when a pile of sleepers that she and a number of children were playing asleep. Sleepers are the big logs which we used underneath the railway tracks. They're usually like big chunks of like gum tree. David was the son of a minister who died in 1946 from polio. Um, English says she was a skeptic before undertaking the ghost tour. While standing at the bank looking at the cemetery, she's just snapping away, making jokes, and yeah, and then you can see the two children. They do look like they're in like period thing, and they do look like they're kind of like fading away a little bit. Um, the only people who were there were a family of four. About 10 minutes later, those kids were clinging to their parents the whole time. And of course, it also has a picture of the railway tunnel at the bottom as well. Um, oh yeah, that's what I got to look at. Ooh. So speaking of cemeteries, they're in Gympie Cemetery. There is a well-known local legend of a tombstone of George Argo that emits a soft, strange glow after dark, and the glow is reported to sharpen on stormy nights. No, 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 it's not the one I'm looking for. No, where is the bloody one I'm looking for? Okay, so apparently that reminds me of a story from that I read years ago, but unfortunately I can't find it at the moment. But I found like a thing that says a stone cross made from the Balmoral granite in Lismore Cemetery in New South Wales was reported by locals to emit a bright white light at night beginning in the 1970s and 80s. Um, it was eventually destroyed, and no one, and then it just disappeared, and no one knows where the hell it went. Because all I'm seeing at the moment is what do you call it? Halloween crap. Uh, oh wait, hold on. I think I might have found it. A lonely country cemetery in northern New South Wales is the site of one of Australia's most unusual unsolved mysteries. In 1907, following a fatal attempt to stop a runaway train at Mullumbimby, a young rail worker, William Stenson, was laid to rest in the North Lismore Pioneer Cemetery. The epitaph on his tomb paid tribute to his courage and valor. Soon after his death, the cemetery ceased taking new burials and became overgrown. Fast forward to a clear night in 1978 when, following a clean-up of the graves, a local man noticed Stenson's cross, carved from Balmoral red granite glowing brightly. After national newspapers splashed his astonishing account across their front pages, word of the strange phenomenon spread fast within days. The luminescent cross was attracting crowds and curious onlookers from all over Australia. Soon teams of expert stonemasons, geologists and physicists descended on the Lismore, trying to explain the phenomenon. Some claim the glow was due to rare properties of the red granite, but most popular explanation was that the well-polished cross was simply a reflection of a nearby source of light, such as the moon. I call that a load of bullshit. This theory was, however, promptly dismissed when the cross was observed glowing on a moonless night. Meanwhile, some men of faith claimed that the glowing cross was a miracle and pilgrims flocked far and wide to rub it for good luck. Although the cross continued to inexplicably glow, interest eventually waned and Stenson's gravesite returned to relatively anomalous, uh, that word, until 1986 when, in the dead of night, the glowing cross vanished. Yeah. Apparently they have tried to find it, but nobody knows where the hell it is. Like I've been to Lismore, because that's where my grandmother grew up. That's her stomping ground. Um, she took me there several times, and let's just say there's some very very spooky things with that that area of the country. Uh, so, ooh, uh, have 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 you heard of the Somerton Man, Emmy?
No.
Emmy,
You hear me?
ooh, I think I killed Emmy. She's dead.
No, I'm right here. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You're on mute. We're not going to ask why. Okay, so have you heard of the Somerton Man? It's one
No,
of
I haven't.
Australia's. So, as you know, we have plenty of famous cases throughout history with people that have died and stuff like that. One of them is the Somerton Man. He is an unidentified man whose body was found on 1st of December 1948 on the beach at Somerton Park, a suburb of Adelaide. The case is also known as the Tamam Shud case, meaning it is over, it is finished. Which is printed on a scrap of paper found months later in the fob pocket of the man's trousers. The scrap had been torn from the final page of the copy of the book, The Rubaiyat of Amar um, Khayyam, a poetry book, which is actually found in the back of a taxi. They do actually have, like, I'm going off the wiki thing here, they do actually have a photo of him. Um, Now, following this, over the years, um, the police did a lot of um, searching for who he could be, didn't find anything. However, um, it has been actually solved. As of 2022, um, they found out his name through DNA testing, but there was also like a love affair that was struck up because of this, and because of the photo that they thought this guy was a relative of that's still in their house and everything. Was it's on YouTube if you look it up. So the Somerton man was, as I said, formerly identified as Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer and instrument maker born in 1905. It's actually it's one of those stories that you've got to listen to because if you can look up I think it's the ABC's coverage of it. There was things to do with like dancers and other people, of potential offspring, and it had so many twists and turns in it. It's yeah. Um, so let's go from there to uh, let's go to the Malong meteorites. So as I said earlier, we've had like lots of asteroids crashing into the planet. So the Malong meteorite was found on the 25th of September 1912 by Mr. Edward Barrell on his property 20 kilometres west of Orange in New South Wales. The final resting place of the it's been cut in half and shared with the Australian Museum in 1934. Um, I'll just check. So it's from a class of stony iron meteorite group thought to come from the mantle core boundary of the parent asteroid in the asteroid belt that orbits between Mars and Jupiter. This class represents only 1.6% of all observed falls, and there are only 5 known pallasites from Australia and about 50 from like around the world, which is like incredibly rare. Just saying if there's anything else interesting with this. Apparently, because they cut it open, it actually rusts, so they have to keep it in oil to stop it from rusting, which is pretty funny.
Well, who's in charge of that?
That one. What's that?
I said, who would be in charge of that?
That would be the Australian Museum.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the Australian Museum is just as bad as the English Museum in stealing shit. Uh, okay, I got a mystery for you. This is one I remember reading about as a kid, and has intrigued me ever since. The mystery of the Bermagui. So in October 1880, a party of 5 explorers, led by geologist Lamont Young, set sail off the coast of Bermagui to search for potential gold mining sites. 3 days later, the boat was located 15 kilometers up the coast from what is now called Mystery Bay. The crew went missing and were never seen or heard from again. Whatever happened to the men has remained one of Australia's most puzzling mysteries. The story at the time received massive media coverage from not only Australia, but throughout the British Empire. Mystery Bay, where the boat was located, received its name because of the disappearance. So Young and his assistant Samuel Casey travelled with the boat and the boat owner Thomas Towers of Batemans Bay. Batemans Bay is on the south coast of New South Wales. I think it is home to one of Australia's naval ports at the moment. It is a nice place to be. It's great for fishing. That's all I remember of it. The two of Towers' friends, the boat set off for Bermagui at night on Saturday, the 8th of October 1880, with the aim to find possible gold sites further north of Bermagui. Reports indicate that a boat was observed the following morning stationary with one person in it. On the following Monday, the boat was discovered abandoned at Corona Reef, 15 kilometers north of Bermagui. In the boat were 5 bags of clothing, Young's books and papers, spectacles, a bullet in its starboard side, and some vomit. However, no sign of 5 men. Despite numerous searches and the government inquiries into the fate of the crew remains a mystery. The remnants of fire, some food, 3 shirt studs, and mysterious footmarks on the beach were all that was found. Okay, the boat was located in a position which it wouldn't be able to drift to naturally. If it had been there, if there had been an accident at sea, how did the boat manage to navigate through the nearby rocks? And a large amount of supplies were found within the boat, including a pair of spectacles laid out in the seat. None of the boat's contents were wet or saturated, so the boat could not possibly be swamped by water. There were holes within the hull of the boat. However, it was discovered these holes had actually been made from the inside, and a revolver bullet was found in the boat, and some copper case of the cartridge was found in the sand about 30 meters away. But neither the fishermen nor the geologists were known to carry weapons. Where were the anchor and sails? Why were the large rocks found within the boat? If the crew were murdered, why was there no evidence to suggest a struggle or even foul play? Which is, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the nullarbor now after I get a drink because, yeah, I need a drink. Okay, so there was an incident in 1988 where a family claimed to have been attempted alien abduction on the remote plains of the Nullarbor. So the Nullarbor Plain is located in the Great Australian Bight in Western and South Australia. The name comes from Latin nullus arbor, which means no trees. The local indigenous population also had a bleak name for the place, Undiri, which translates to waterless. All right, give me 2 seconds. Running through the Nullarbor Plain is the Erie Highway, which connects Western Australia to South Australia. It is a long remote road and the straightest in Australia. From Western Australia to Sedina in South Australia, it is a total of 1,664 kilometres. The Erie Highway is the only route available. Just to put that in perspective, to get from Brisbane to Sydney, it is like it's only about 900 k's. The Nullarbor has always been regarded as mysterious and strange for those who have experienced the vast emptiness. And in 1988, it was the setting for one of Australia's most terrifying UFO encounters. So in January 1988, Faye Knowles relocated with her children from Adelaide to Perth, seeking new work, a fresh start in a different city. Her 3 adult sons, Patrick, aged 24, Wayne, aged 21, and Sean, aged 18, decided to move with her for better job opportunities. So along with the 2 pet dogs, they packed up and prepared for the move. It was decided to travel by car. It was a lengthy trip ahead of them, and the destination was over 2,700 k's through one of Australia's most isolated areas. However, the family was not, you bastards. All right, I'm going to have to look this up. Freaking, it cut off the thing. Damn it. So basically, a glowing egg shape chased the car and lifted the car off the Erie Highway on January 20th. It caused car damage and left behind white ash and dust. So apparently it happened like between 4 and 5:30 a.m. in the morning. They did get to Sedina and report it, and they found the dust. It contained materials that were not typical of cars' components and potentially synthetic substances. Other reports, apparently a tuna boat was witnessed 50 miles away, reports being buzzed by a similar object, which is, yeah. Uh, and while we're at it, we will stay in the Nullarbor, and I will go across to Frederick Valentik, who I did promise I would talk about. Are you still good, Emmy?
I'm still here.
Closely, it was only like a 2-second intermission because, yeah. So, Frederick Valentik was an Australian pilot who disappeared while on a 125-mile nautical trip or 232 k's flight in his Cessna 182 light aircraft, registration VHDSJ, over the Bass Strait. On the evening of Saturday, 21 October 1978, 20-year-old Valentik informed the Melbourne Air Control that he was accompanied by an aircraft about 1,000 feet or 300 meters above him, and that his engine had begun running roughly before finally reporting it's not an aircraft. Uh, there were belated reports of UFO sightings in Australia on the night of the disappearance. However, the Department of Transport was skeptical that a UFO was behind Valentik's disappearance, and some of the officials speculated that Valentik became disorientated and saw his own lights reflected in the water or from the nearby island when flying upside down. But the problem with that is, why the frick would he be flying upside down? Um, so he had about 150 total flying hours and held a Class 4 instrument rating, which authorized him to fly at night, but only in visual meteorological conditions. He had twice applied to enlist in the RAF, which is the Royal Australian Air Force, but had been rejected because of inadequate educational qualifications. He was a member of the RAF Air Training Corps, determined to have a career in aviation. He was studying to become a commercial pilot, but had a poor achievement record, having twice failed all 5 commercial license exam subjects. As recently as a month before his disappearance, Valentik had failed three more commercial license subjects. He'd been involved in flying incidents, for example, straying into a controlled zone in Sydney, for which he received a warning, twice deliberately flying into a cloud, for which prosecution was being considered, and according to his father Guido, Valentik was an ardent believer in UFOs. He'd been worried about being attacked by them 6 days before his disappearance. Valentik discussed with his girlfriend, Rhonda Rushton, the possibility of a UFO taking him away, according to her. Um, the destination of Valentik's final flight was King Island, but his motivation for the flight is unknown. He told flight officials that he was going to King Island to pick up some friends, while he told others he was going to pick up crayfish. Later investigations found both stated reasons to be untrue. Valentik also failed to inform King Island Airport of his intention to land there, going against standard procedure. Uh, so he reported at 7:06 to the Melbourne Flight Service that an unidentified craft was following him at 4,500 feet. He was told there were no known traffic at that level. Valentik said he could see a large unknown aircraft which appeared to be illuminated by 4 bright landing lights. He was unable to confirm its type, but said that it had passed 300 meters overhead and was moving at high speed. Valentik then reported the aircraft was approaching him from the east and said that the other pilot might be purposely toying with him. Valentik said the aircraft was orbiting above him and that the shiny metal surface had a green light on it. Valentik further reported that he was experiencing engine problems and asked to identify the aircraft. Um, Valentik radioed, "It's not an aircraft," and then it was interrupted by unidentified noise described as metallic scraping sounds before all contact was lost. Um, with the investigation, Um, they presumed it was fatal for Valentik 5 years after Valentik's aircraft went missing. An engine cowl flat was found washed ashore on Flinders Island. Um, in 1983, the Bureau of Air Safety Investigation asked the Royal Australian Navy Research Laboratory about the likelihood that the cow flat might have travelled to its ultimate position from the region where the aircraft had disappeared. The Bureau noted that the part had been identified as coming from a Cessna 182 aircraft between a certain range of serial numbers, which include Valentik's explanation. Uh, It has been proposed that Valentik staged his own disappearance, even taking into account the trip between 30 to 45 minutes to Cape Otway. A single-engine Cessna 182 has still had enough fuel to fly the 800 Ks despite ideal conditions, and at no time was the aircraft plotted on radar, casting doubts as to whether it was even near Cape Otway. The Melbourne police received reports of a light aircraft making mysterious landing not far from Cape Otway at the same time as Valentik's disappearance. Um, There's also been speculation that Valentik committed suicide, um, but according to UFOologist Keith Basterfield, interviews with doctors and colleagues who virtually eliminated this possibility. And according to Brian Dunning, Valentik's radio conversations are similar to the dialogue from the end of the scene in the film The Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which was released less than a year before the disappearance and was popular among pilots, which is, as I said earlier, was very similar to the Natasha Henstridge Alien movie that became very popular in pop culture and was responsible for an uptick in chupacabra sightings. Dunning speculated that it's possible that Valentik was trying to imitate the scene for fun and deliberately made his aircraft fly in circular pattern in order to give the radar guard something to see, but accidentally became disorientated and crashed into the water. So, United States Air Force pilot James McGarr and author Joe Nickell proposed that the inexperienced Valentik was deceived by the illusion of a tilted horizon, for which he attempted to compensate and inadvertently put his aircraft into a downward so-called graveyard spiral, which he initially mistook for simply orbiting the aircraft. According to the authors, the G-forces of a tightening spiral would decrease fuel flow, resulting in rough idling reported by Valentik. They also reported that the overhead lights could have been Venus, Mars, and Mercury along with Tiris, which would have behaved in a way consistent with Valentik's description. Emmy, can you take over a couple of minutes? I've got to go deal with something.
Say what?
Yeah, but the problem with the aliens abducting the heck out of me is that they don't give us anal proofs. All right, be right back. Emmy, take over.
Okay. Well, that. Okay. I don't even know what to say, but I am fascinated with Australia, health wise, because it seems like they are on the leading edge, and I would love to explore that a little bit more. Second, I didn't realize there was so much like paranormal activity, and I especially didn't know about the lights. So that's pretty interesting. Um, yeah, and it's been a pretty interesting night, and I just want to thank Gelth for sharing. I am currently looking for a mayonnaise jar without a lid in my refrigerator because I found a lid with no buddy, and now I'm freaking out. Has anybody done that before? Everybody has a buddy. So then where's the brand new mayonnaise jar? Did they eat it? Holy cow, I think my kids really ate a whole mayonnaise jar. Oh well.
Okay,
The
I'm back.
Tupperwares are wild. Yes, they are. But I
Yes,
just want to make sure that there's like no mayonnaise leaking all over the refrigerator that I don't know about.
I don't know anything about mayonnaise leaking all over the thing. I just had to go to the bathroom and I had to go get the stuff in my nose because I was starting to have trouble breathing. Um, okay,
Well, I found a lid with no buddy.
weird.
And it's I think it's it looks like a mayonnaise jar. So now I'm like, well, where's the bottle of mayonnaise? It's a poltergeist. You know what it is? It's a poltergeist. I'm being punked by a poltergeist.
Weird.
Yes, I am. But I'm lovable.
Ugh. And just so you know, Alicia, I actually still have several things, but we can skip some of that and shorten. So the next big one that I'm going to cover is the Fisher's Ghost from um, Campbelltown in New South Wales. Campbelltown is a suburb where I grew up on on the outskirts of Campbelltown, little town called Bradbury. So I'm very very familiar with Campbelltown because I went to school there. So I am personally very very familiar with this tale that I'm about to tell, and I have been to where Fisher's ghost was reportedly seen. Um, so the legend of Fisher's ghost is a popular ghost story dating back to the early 19th century. It arose from a series of historical events which occurred in Campbelltown in New South Wales, which is now a large urban population centre on the outskirts of Sydney, but at the time was a remote rural outpost. Inspired by the legend, the Festival of the Fisher's Ghost has been celebrated in Campbelltown since 1956. In 1924, an Australian silent film titled Fisher's Ghost retells the events of the legend. There are some similar stories to Fisher's Ghost. I would have to do a lot of digging to find them. Um, so, on the 17th of June in 1826, an English-born Australian farmer from Campbelltown named Frederick Fisher, born on the 28th of August in 1792 in London, suddenly disappeared. His friend and neighbour George Worrell claimed that Fisher had returned to his native England and that before departing had given him the power of attorney over his property and general affairs. Later, Worrell claimed that Fisher had written to him to advise that he was not intending to return to Australia and had given his farm to Worrell. For months after Fisher's disappearance, a respectable local man named John Farley ran into the local hotel in a very agitated state and told the astonished patrons that he'd seen the ghost of Fred Fisher sitting on the rail of a nearby bridge. Farley related that the ghost had not spoken, but merely pointed to the paddock beyond the creek before disappearing. Initially, Farley's tale was dismissed, but the circumstances surrounding Fisher's disappearance eventually aroused sufficient suspicion that the police search of the paddock in which the ghost was pointed was undertaken, during which the remains of the murdered Fisher were discovered buried by the side of the creek. Um, George Worrell was arrested for the crime, confessed, and subsequently hanged. Fred Fisher, whose lands he coveted, was buried in the cemetery of St. Peter's Anglican Church in Campbelltown. It has been suggested that Farley invented the ghost story as a way of concealing some other speculated source of his knowledge about the whereabouts of Fisher's body, but this cannot be confirmed. Joe Nicol has written the ghost story may have originated from an anonymous poem in 1832 which fictionalized Fisher and Worrell. The poem, The Sprite of the Creek, has since been identified as the work of James Riley, 1795 to 1860, who would republish it with explanatory footnotes in 1846 under the um, pseudonym Felix.
Contemporary police and court records do not mention the ghost story. The legend of the Fisher's Ghost has since entered Australian popular folklore, and the creek beside which the body was discovered is known as Fisher's Ghost Creek. Although it is, however, now been converted mostly into a stormwater drain, which by the time of the 1980s, yes, did have stormwater drains through there. Some of those tunnels were big enough that me and my brothers and my friends used to ride through them because, we're kids and we do stupid crap. Um, the Festival of the Fisher's Ghost dates back to 1956 and is organised by the Campbelltown City Council in New South Wales. It utilises the legends of the Fisher's Ghost to promote community togetherness and very varied activities of diverse population in an array of creative forms. It has promoted an energetic, lively, and colourful celebration of Campbelltown's historic people. It's a 10-day festival celebrated every November, includes a parade through Queen Street, um, and yeah, like a fun fair, fun run, and blah, blah, blah. So, what's your thoughts on that one, Emmy and Khaleesi?
I'm shooting it over to Khaleesi. I need water.
I thought Campbelltown was something else. Khaleesi, get your mind out of the gutter.
Well, I mean, she's got a point there. I thought it was something else too.
Okay, Campbelltown. Okay, yes, it's the way we say it, Campbelltown. It's like a lot of things. It's like the difference of the fact that we say herbs and you guys say herbs, which is irritating as hell. You know, it's just a um. What can I say? It's pronunciation.
Khaleesi thinks you're exotic now.
Oh, I'm totally excited, am I? Really? Then I have to go go hang around with my English relatives and become like a chef or whatever. Okay, do you two remember the guy that went and buried a treasure chest out in near Montana somewhere? I think it was that had apparently gold nuggets, paintings, and other stuff that people have been searching for nearly 50 years. That's actually now been found.
Is that the treasure map?
Mm.
Isn't it like a gold hunter's treasure map?
Yep.
Scavenger hunt, and it's like all over the world, and then it's that or
No, no, no. It was just in that one area. But as the guy said, it wasn't in buildings. It was outside. It was, yes, and apparently it has been found. The guy actually confirmed it before he died. So we
oh,
have
there.
we have our version of that too.
Really?
Yeah, the tale of the Hope treasure. So this also begins in the early 19th century when the colonial trading vessel Hope set sail from Sydney in 1827. It carried valuable cargo bound for Hobart Town. Little did the crew
Sorry.
and passengers know that this voyage would be far from ordinary. On board were not only 100 tons of
Can you
cargo,
guys still hear me?
but also two soldiers from the 40th
Mm,
Regiment of Foot with a special assignment.
what did I do?
These soldiers were guarding a fortune of $40,000 in gold sovereigns, worth almost $10 million today. Um, Probably a bit more now. As fate would have it, the Hope ran aground on the beach between Betsy and Iron Pot Island. Hope Beach is still the name of the beach today, and efforts to free the ship were in vain, so the captain decided to unload the passengers and cargo onto the beach. The two soldiers reportedly took the gold sovereigns into a small whaling boat and allegedly crossed the River Derwent, and allegedly they buried the treasure in the dunes at Bruny Island, Nebraska's beach, intending to return to their fortune. So decades passed, and the gold sovereigns remained hidden beneath the sand, guarded by the secrets of time. It wasn't until the 1850s that a curious Irishman, of course, it would have to be a fucking curious Irishman going after the gold sovereigns, named McKinnon, arrived on Bruny Island. One of the soldiers gave McKinnon a map before their departure to India. With a spade in hand, McKinnon embarked on a treasure hunt of his own. tearing up the beaches in search of the hidden treasure. Despite their relentless effort and determination, McKinnon's search proved fruitless. He eventually gave up his quest. However, word of the treasure quickly spread, and soon the island was buzzing with locals eager to try their luck at discovering the elusive wealth. Today, the Hope treasure remains one of Tasmania's enduring mysteries. Did the two soldiers truly bury a fortune in gold sovereigns on brooding island shores, or was the legend merely a product of imagination and folklore? The truth remains hidden beneath layers of history and myth. Yeah, there's that one. Okay, we've done that one. That can be done another time. I've already done that one. Ooh. Okay, remember when we did the Sasquatches and I mentioned the dog face, the dog people as well. So apparently, this also goes back to the Nullarbor. I'm going to butcher the name of this. Chirunia of the Aboriginal Australian folklore. The dog-faced man prowling the Nullarbor plains of Australia. So apparently it's a furry creature from the Australian folklore, a mix between a human and dog, like a werewolf, or other dog-faced blah blah blah. No, we don't care about that. I don't care about the Federation of Dog Crap. Come on. Okay. So the tale of the Chirunia. To understand what it is, let's put you directly into the story. So imagine you're planning a trip to Australia and putting together a little list of places to visit, like the Sydney Opera House, boring, the Royal Botanic Garden in Victoria, the Great Barrier Reef, and a few others. And I'd still like to know why the Americans think that the Great Barrier Reef is within driving distance of Brisbane Central, like the city. It's not. It's several hours away. Um, a few other and a few others with a stopover at the Nullarbor Plain for a drive through the scenic landscape. You hit the highway on the Nullarbor Plain in the late afternoon, and a sense of eerie solitude envelops you as you gaze over the endless stretch of barren land. After a short drive, you pull up and take into the details. You grab a few selfies as you exit your vehicle, and a shiver runs down your spine at the cool breeze. You grab those selfies and hop back into your vehicle, turn the ignition, and nothing happens. Your vehicle won't start. You frown, searching the long straight road and finding yourself completely alone. You check a quick check of the phone shows no signal. You put down your windows, kick back, and wait for someone to drive by. A yawn hits you, you blink, frowning at the large canine footprints in the dirt, and you squeeze your eyes shut for a moment. You open your eyes to darkness. The muscles in your legs and back are stiff, and you wipe a trickle of drool from your lip. You must have fallen asleep. Around you is the unsettling silence of nighttime in the outback, and above you is the canopy of glittering stars. A rustling near your car draws your attention. You see only the silhouette of sparse vegetation you spotted during the day. Not wanting to draw the attention of wild animals, you put your windows up and lock the doors. As the window slices off your last breath of fresh air, you feel your seat rumble. Your pulse quickens as you realize the source of the sensation, a low growl just outside. Whipping around, you spot a towering figure bucking out the starry sky. The body is grotesque, muscular person covered in fur, but the head is like a dog. Eyes glint with feral luminescence locking onto yours, and it growls a guttural sound that reverberates through you. The massive paw steps onto the window by your head. You realize that you're not just a visitor to the Nullarbor Plain. You are a part of the story that is unfolding for the centuries. The Chirunia has found you. One long claw clinks on the glass. Thin lines crackle around the claw, forming a fractured web. The paw pushes. The window explodes, showering you with shards. You are dead. And then just says, "Congratulations, you just met the Chirunia. Unfortunately, you didn't live long enough to tell the tale." They are said to be a dog-faced man, tall, heavily built, with long, unnatural arms. Some say they have a loose bag like that of a pelican that hangs from its chin, while others resemble the modern descriptions of a werewolf. Um, Aboriginal Australian history and law are fascinating, especially because they've been around for such a long time, as it's one of the oldest continuous cultures in the world, stretching back to at least 65,000 years. The culture is incredibly diverse before European settlement. There were over 250 languages and 500 different groups across the continent. Each group had its own unique culture, beliefs, stories, and creating mosaics of interconnected communities. In the belief, there is a term known as the dreaming or the dream time, which represents a worldview, a way of life, philosophy, and religion. Within it, you'll find concepts of things like everyone, etc., etc. Um, in, Intriguing perspective within this is that history isn't just the past. The dreaming is timeless, where the past, present, and future are all interconnected. Sadly, as is true with many cultures worldwide, European colonization wiped out languages, destroyed sacred sites, and threatened the very existence of the stories. Recently, there is a revival to actively, you know, um, so yeah. What are your thoughts on that one, Emmy? Oh no, Emmy lost her audio. A shame. Okay, so now, Emmy, remember me saying that, like with I did mention crop circles, and we have things called fairy circles here in Australia. I have seen them. They're not the Aboriginal folklore, and I know the mythology says don't mess with them. Um, be very careful. So, what they are mysterious, regularly spaced, circular, barren patches of soil, 2 to 12 meters in diameter, found in the arid grasslands of the Pilbara region, WA Northern Territory, often called the Linji by the Aboriginal people. Um, Apparently, they're created by termites, but we still don't know. Apparently, the Aboriginal people use these as patches for sitting areas, walking past, and to grind seed. So, apparently, while similar in appearance to the African fairy circles, the Australian fairy circles differ from those in Namibia, as often associated with pavement building termites rather than the solely sand termites or the purely abiotic causes. Hold on, so that's fine, Emmy. We're getting down to the very, very last poem that I'm going to read. This is one of those ones that were done by um, Banjo Patterson, one of the most famous poem writers here in Australia. Um, I just figured this would be a good tie-in and would help raise the raise the blood. There have been actual movies based on this particular poem and whatnot, and it still stirs the blood even now. Mm. So this is the man from Snowy River. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so There was movement at the station, for word had passed around. Then the colt from Old Regret had got away and joined the wild bush horses. He was worth £1,000. So all the cracks had gathered to the fray, all tried and noted raiders from the stations near and far, had mustered at the homestead overnight. For the bushmen love hard riding where the wild bush horses are, and the stock horse snuffs the battles with delight. There was Harrison, who made his pile when Pardon won the cup, the old man with his hair white as snow, but few could ride beside him when his blood was fairly up. He would go wherever horse and man could go, and Clancy of the Overflow came down to lend a hand. No better horseman whoever held the reins, for never a horse could throw him while his saddle's girth would stand. He learnt to ride while droving on the plains.